Good morning. I'm Dennis Willich with Nationwide Southwest. I'm here this morning with Mr. Mike Petchel with LG Appliances. Mike?
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining me. Yes.
Thank you for the invite.
Well, tell me a little bit what's going on over at LG.
Well, I tell you, with LG, it's one of the most exciting brands out there in the industry. You know, if you think about where we've been over the last 7 years, ever since second quarter of last year, we achieved that number one brand share, U.S. appliance industry. People always ask us a lot, what makes LG, successful in that position. And one of the things you always find about LG is the power of the brand. And it's one of the things that our company will never take for granted. It's even our leaders, our president, our CEO, they always say the brand will always come first. So a lot of the new stuff that's going on with LG through our brand is a lot through our products. We've had a lot of new exciting innovations that we're launching here in 2025. Some of our most successful new launches from last year. We're now expanding the platforms, things like zero clearance in front-door refrigeration. We're completing out some of our top-load laundry line launches. We're taking dishwashers and we're bringing some of our technologies that tends to be at the highest end of the line down to the middle of the line. And each one of those really kind of demonstrates our focus on the brand. And it's one of the things you'll really always find with us is it's the brand, the product, and quality. And that'll always be our mission the last 20 years, the U.S. market, and many years before that. And it will always be our mission with us even in 2025 and beyond.
That's good. So let's switch over to the show right now. How's the show felt to you?
I tell you, you go year to year, show to show, and you look at the traffic, you look at the orders. What we judge our success on is the comments and the feedback. The traffic through the booth for us has been very consistent, very strong. I think it's probably been busier this year than probably was the last 2 years. I think it's the positivity and feedback that we get from the members has really been different about this show. I could tell you when you look at the Nationwide Southwest organization and what we have, I probably met more people in the Nationwide South region this show than I have in probably the last two combined. Yeah. And it's not just the ones that are finding me, but it's the members that are coming in and spending time with our sales team. And the openness or comfortability that they're showing with key account managers that may be supporting the upper Midwest or maybe supporting the Northeast. But they're coming in, the members are asking for us to walk them through the booths, and they're showing a really mutual, genuine interest. It's our genuine interest in them, but it's their genuine interest in the brand. And I think that's what's really set this show apart, has been the positivity and the foot traffic and around the new accounts that we're seeing.
Well, that's exciting. And again, when you take a brand like LG, and obviously we have so many generations that have grown up, the younger generations that have grown up have been really born into the brand, if you want to use that analogy, but they know the brand. And tell me the connectivity there and the power of the brand and why that brand is so important to be on that sales floor.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing you've seen is, in 2018, our U.S. market share was about, 13, 14%. And then starting last year, we now approach 21. And by the end of this year, we're hoping to get to that 2022, 23 level. And I think what's happened is our attractiveness has continued to expand. We know that the individuals out there, consumer homeowners, are in their 30s and 40s. They want technology. They want innovations. They want simplification. They want to make their lives easier because their lives are always on the go. I think the days of a lot of people, like when I grew up in the 70s and 80s, of sticking around at the home and things like that, today's consumers and this new population that we have, whether you call millennials, Gen X's, and all the different variations out there in the names, they're all attracted to LG because it really matches up. And I think a lot of the reason why LG has seen the success we've had, it has often been led by the regional accounts. And the reason for that is our brand is more technological. It is more advanced. And some of that, when people walk into a national account big box, you need a sales associate to walk you through that product. And I think when you look at the regional channel and the retail sales associates out there, that is their strength. Yeah. The best sales associates in the industries are the regional independents out there. And our brand fits well with where those RSAs, so it's really become a natural match. And that's why even though we've had the growth with LG as a U.S. basis, our regional independent group has really been fueling that growth with LG for about the last 2 years. It really kind of started to take hold in COVID. We were always a strong laundry and refrigeration brand, and now you started seeing cooking and dishwashers start to take new levels, and it's really carried on ever since then. So it's really that discerning consumers they have out there, it just matches our brand well. And we continue to win there with those, as well as even the broader population that want the quality and the things that come with it. But it's been a big game changer.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, because we look at our society today, and here we are with 5 generations that we are, think about my generation, next generation.
Yep.
We're getting into 5D generations.
Yep.
Which is a lot of differentiation.
Yep.
How do you go to market? What do they want? What do they expect? And all of that. And again, the younger generation, like I say, has really grown up around the LG, phones, televisions, whatever. So they've been exposed to that brand.
Yep.
And so I like to tell our members, it's important to market branding, because here's another thing that we do really, really well as a group. We go into a member store. We want to do a digital analysis of your web and all the things that you're using and what's going on. But then, just important, we got to do what we call the market analysis. So we need to go in and find out who is living in your market today. It's amazing. I talk to a lot of members that say, I've been in business 30 years. But do you really know your market from 30 years ago to now? Have you done any research, any discovery? And a lot of them say, well, not really. And they don't realize, and I always use the analogy, if you had 1,000 homes out there, who's living in those 1,000 homes today versus 30 years ago?
Yep.
We have to be smart enough and work hard for our membership against the big box stores.
Yep.
And if we do our job right as a group, and we bring the information to the member to explain that, hey, you have a much younger generation now than what you were dealing with 30 years ago. Probably had mostly me over there. Our generation was over there buying, and what you were selling and the brands you're selling. Hey, we grew up on those. Well, you have new generations that's kind of been introduced and into the world on different brands. So you have to kind of think this through. And then I think from that standpoint, you can make a better decision and a wise decision on, hey, I keep saying over and over, if I wake up this morning, I'm a youngster, and I wake up this morning, I decide I want to buy a new refrigerator. And I'm looking for LG. And I find LG at Lowe's or Home Depot, but it don't show up in the membership of our local retailer. Guess where I'm going? Probably down to Lowe's or Home Depot to take a look.
Yep.
My whole point is, if you at least don't have the floor, you won't get that consumer to grace the front door.
Yeah. What's interesting what you said, Dennis, is in the second quarter of last year, one of the things that the industry looks at is consideration set. And it's basically a metric that measures when a customer wakes up every morning, just like the example you gave, what brands are they most likely to consider? And so when they leave that home, what are they going to go look for? And the U.S. appliance industry has had a lot of our historical brands be in that number one position. And as of second quarter last year until today, we're now that number one consideration brand. And that's a first for LG. And what's interesting is almost matches exactly what you said. They're going to leave that home and they're going to look to consider LG. And it's the retailers that put that premise out in front of the consumers, reminding them that, hey, I carry LG. Keep that advertising out there, whether it's digital, whether it's print, radio, whatever. Always keep in the forefront mind of those consumers. Leverage the marketing support that they get from Nationwide Southwest and us as an LG manufacturer to continue to advertise. So make sure they know that you got it. Because if consumers are coming out looking for LG more than any other brand, you want to be the retailer that they know has it. And a lot of that strength has been driven off of our success in televisions, computers, earphones, earbuds, all that kind of stuff. Because we are beyond just appliances and we are so much of a home, it's naturally now fueling success and metrics like that we've never had at our disposal before.
Yeah. And you make the greatest point in the world. I'm telling you right now, when they look in there, they're looking for LG. They don't find it at your store. They're not even going to bother. They're going to go. They're going to move on past.
Yeah, 1 out of every 3 front-load laundry units sold in the industry today have an LG name on it. 1 out of 3. 1 out of 4 French door refrigerators have an LG name on it. And if you think about it, where every sale matters and every sale counts for a regional independent, it's so important for their operations and keeping those doors open and keeping their success and keeping their payroll and their operation working. When you have that kind of market share presence out there in very critical categories like that, and there's other examples of that, LG can be the power horse for regional independents that helps them drive their business. And that's why we've seen the growth that we've had with the nationwide buy group. Not just the last 4 months that I've been speaking to in the last few days here,
Right.
but that growth really goes back about 3 to 4 years as we continue to grow. Our balance of sale inside of Nationwide has grown over 150% in 6 years. So it just shows you even inside of the group, more and more independents are choosing LG because more and more consumers are looking and choosing LG.
Oh, that's good. Now, all of the technology, and of course, you hit the nail on the head. The young generation is technology driven. Mm-hmm. Technology driven. And you guys have probably as much technology, if not more, than anyone in the market out there. You really drive that. And with that, that's just another additive that I keep saying they're going to look for. And if you don't at least show it, you never get a chance. And all I can say is, let's talk a little bit about service. We've heard things. I really want to address this today.
Yep.
For one reason. We've heard members say, I had LJ years back, and it was hard to get parts. It was hard to get service.
Yep.
It was hard to this. You hear that? Yeah. And I try to remind them that, hey, just like everything else, the evolution of time of change and the things that are going on. Address that a little bit for the audience.
Sure.
So we can get a little better feel. So tell me what you are doing out there.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is on the parts. We used to hear that back in the mid 2014 to 2019 or so. And one of the biggest changes we made is we went into distribution type network. So, we basically tripled the amount of parts inventory we have on the U.S. market. And today we can deliver to any zip code in the United States, whether it's direct parts counts or through distributors. Very good, great operations out there that we just tap into and leverage. And we can get to, within about 48 hours to about 97% of the U.S. population that fast. That was a change. I think back in the mid, 2014 to 2019, 2020, and like I mentioned, we weren't like that. We only had about a third of the parts inventory, and it was a challenge, but that has really changed. And we ask a lot of retailers, hey, how do you feel now versus where you were 5 years ago? And we do get the positive comments saying, yeah, we really don't have the issues anymore. The supply is there. I think when you look at the service side, the biggest opportunity that we continue to focus on is making sure that we have coverage.
Right.
As we continue to get to a bigger market share like we've now achieved, we've got to continue to find those zip codes in the United States where maybe we don't have a service solution out there. And that's where they go out there and they partner with servicers, trying to get people that may not service LG into it. We rely a lot on the independent retailers that do their self-servicing dealers. We love those.
Yeah.
Because we know that they've got experience there, they've got good quality of service, and they want that consumer to have that good experience. And that's what we want from LG on all things that we sell. Not just putting it in the home and not having the service to back it up, but for a lot of the regional accounts out there that are self-servicing dealers and do their own, we leverage them as every chance we get. Not just about getting them signed up, but making sure they have the tools and training and education to feel comfortable in servicing our product. A lot of people ask us about the compressor, that happened back in late in 2017. We did address it. We knew we had to. But now if you look at it, our metrics are right back down to where they used to be and where we want them to be. So, every manufacturer is going to run into situations like that. It's not something that anybody asks for or looks for. It's how you respond. And we as a company, we knew we owed it to ourselves, we owed it to our consumers and our regional base, dealer base, to make sure we had solutions that took care of those customers, and it has. So we're kind of past that as well. So sometimes you do need to look to the past like that.
Yeah. So let's do this. So far we've had a great show. You've had a great show.
Yep.
Our show has been unbelievable here.
Excellent.
There are a lot of, the membership was very, very upbeat.
Yep.
We're glad 24 is over, by the way.
Yeah.
Say that. And so are they.
Yep.
And so let's do this. Let's cut off for right now.
Okay.
With telling you Thank you, Mr. Mike Petchel.
Thank you for your support as well, Dennis, for you and your entire team. We cannot do it without you.
Well, we can't do the things that we do without having you in that partnership as well, and look forward to doing a lot more together. So let's go back. We got a couple hours left on the show, and then we're out of here, and then I guess we'll see you over in Nashville.
Sounds like a plan.
Thank you, buddy.
Great. Thank you.